All right, everybody, we have got about 9 minutes to the start. Just wanted to check to make sure people can hear me. Can somebody just confirm that that you can hear? All right, I got a thumbs up there. Welcome to, so we have of the 206 people have signed up to be a part of this tonight. And okay, thanks, Ace. Loud and clear. Thank you. 206 people have signed up. Usually about half the people show up, so we should have about 100 people with us today. And I see Scott is in the audience there. And like I said, we have 8 minutes to go. So welcome to everybody. We'll just wait for a few more people to show up, and then we'll get the show on the road. And I see our guest of honor there, Scott, is here. So I'm just doing some technical details to make sure he can get in right at 9 o'clock there, and that he'll be able to share his screens for us. And I'll still give it another couple of minutes here, and then I'll do the introductions. Let's see. Hey, Sunny. I see Sunny there. Sunny's been at Photo Booth Expo since the beginning, and looking forward to another great year here. I see Joe as well from Detroit. How are you doing? Looks like Joe's all ready, and still waiting. I made Scott the host, so hopefully there'll be no issues. I'm still fairly new to, I've been on Zoom many times on meetings, but I think this is our fourth time that we've used Zoom for the monthly meetings that we have here. So hopefully it went relatively smooth the first 3 times. Hopefully this one will go smooth as well. But till I've done it for a year or two, I'm never confident that everything will go perfect. So. So while Scott will be doing his presentation, if people have questions for me, just put them on the put them in the question tab, and once Scott has finished, then we'll have lots of time. We'll go through as many questions as we need to go through to have everything covered. So, hey, Andy Starr, how you doing? Still muted, but I think he said he's doing okay there.
There we go. How you doing, buddy?
Good. So.
Oh boy, it's just hot as hell out here. Anybody that lives in Arizona, if anybody's on right now, you know what I mean.
Looking forward to going to Arizona in October, November anyway. So
all right.
Right now it's pretty hot where I am too, and that's way up, well, not way up north, but I live in Niagara Falls, so it's
yep.
Fortunately the middle of the summer, so we're doing all right here too.
Yeah, it's hot everywhere right now, but yeah. So how many people we have on here, Rob? How many are on?
When I signed on, there was 206.
Great.
But usually I found the last 3 times about half the people show up, so we should have about 100 people in here.
That's awesome. Yeah. Great. Yeah, looking forward to hearing what Scott has to say. He's a good speaker, that's for sure. Should be
let me
interesting.
just, for those of you that are in here already, it's 4 minutes till the start of the show. And I see Scott has signed in, but he's probably waiting right till, oh, no, he's there. Scott is there. So for those of you that are early, I will start the introduction early. Okay, and so the topic that you're all here for is how to trademark your business name. And what you're going to learn is how to protect your business name from competitors and cyber squatters and stand out as the authoritative leader in your market. Entrepreneur Scott Kartsounes, I hope I pronounced that right, but I've known Scott for a long time, but I've never checked to make sure that I pronounced his name right. But anyway, Scott will show you how to trademark your business name in this fast-paced educational seminar. So you're going to learn a lot from Scott today. You'll learn a lot more. Scott will be one of our featured speakers, both at PBX and at MEX. He'll have a presentation at both shows. So you're going to learn a lot more from him in person next February. But he's promised to give us as much as he can in about half an hour or so that we've allotted the time for here. So let me just introduce, I'm sure most of you already know Scott, but I'm sure there's a few of you that are new here or for whatever reason not, you know, if you haven't been in the business for long, you might not know who he is. But anyway, let me just give you the rundown. Scott Kartsounes self-manages a portfolio of nearly 100 registered trademarks for his business. And I don't think there's very many people that have registered 100 names or over 100 names. He is the co-founder of Intelligence Inc., the developers of the current product Event Intelligence, which is a leading online event booking, planning, and management platform used by nearly 10,000 mobile DJs, entertainers, photo booth operators, and event companies in 24 countries worldwide. Intelligence Inc. is also the developer of Party Blast, which is a prominent online event directory that lists 50,000 plus event professionals in the United States and Canada. Scott holds a degree in engineering from the University of Illinois, Chicago, an MBA from the National Louis University, and a certificate in entrepreneurship from Harvard Business School. He also owned and operated one of the largest and most successful mobile entertainment companies in Chicago from 1990 to 2003. So that is just an amazing portfolio, got a ton of experience, and he's willing to share that with us. So without further ado, and hopefully you'll be able to share the screens, no problem. If there is any problem, I will work on it as we go along, but I have made him the host, so that should be no issue getting the screens on there. But since it is now 9 o'clock, those that are just coming in may have missed the introduction, but let's right now give Scott Kartsounes a great big virtual round of applause. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate the introduction. Very, very nicely done, and you got my name right, so I can't complain because it's rare that people get my last name right on the first try. So very well with that, but definitely see some familiar names here. And for those of you that I have not met, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to meet in person at the either the PBX or MEX show coming up next spring. So with that, what I'm going to do here is try to jump in and share my screen. And let's see. Okay.
And it works fine. Yeah.
We got it. Wonderful. So, you know, as Rob said, what we're here today to talk about our trademarks and why they're important, why you might want to consider getting one for your business, whether your business is even applicable to you be able to file for trademarks. Certain names can apply, others cannot, just depends on the nature of the name. So we'll go through that. As well as checking, are there any other trademarks filed for your current business that you might have to contend with if you were to think about trademarking your own name. So we're going to kind of run through that, and we'll try to keep it quick so I can hopefully take some questions at the end. As Rob mentioned, I do self-manage a portfolio of nearly 100 trademarks for my various businesses. And so I've got a lot of experience with it. I'm by no means an expert. I'm certainly not an attorney. So nothing here tonight is going to be, hopefully misconstrued as legal advice. And I always advise people to seek professional counsel if and when questions arise that relate to this, because this is important stuff. You definitely want to get it right. So my goal here is just to kind of share my experience with you in terms of, the process to go through and register, file for that trademark, and then sort of what, ongoing commitments there are once the trademark is filed. And hopefully we're going to run through a quick case study and actually go through the entire trademark registration process with the exception of the last step. We'll cancel before we hit the submit button, but I'll kind of walk you through it just so you can see what it's like. And before we get started, I'll also just mention that I will have a copy of all these slides available as a PDF. So as I go through the process of trademarking, don't feel like you have to take a lot of notes or remember any of this. I think Rob's recording this as well, but I'm certainly more than happy to share the slides with everybody. So if you want to go back and have sort of a step-by-step reference, I'm definitely happy to do that for you. So as Rob mentioned, Scott Kartsounes, I'm co-founder of Intelligence Inc. I did own a mobile DJ company in Chicago from 1990 to 2003. And I've been involved with various other businesses throughout the years. But my most prominent business right now is Intelligence Inc. And for those of you who are not familiar with Intelligence Inc., we develop two primary solutions that are in use by the entertainment industry. The first is our online event booking, planning, and management suite called Event Intelligence, and it's used by DJs, photo booth operators, and other entertainment companies to manage their events online and give their clients the ability to book and plan their event through the vendor's website. If you're in the DJ industry, you may know us as DJ Intelligence. That's kind of the name we got started under, but we've grown and evolved, and we now operate under Event Intelligence, and we serve all different types of vendors in the entertainment industry. And then we also own and operate a online event services directory called Party Blast. And this is just a sort of a classic directory of vendors and all the different areas that you might need if you're planning a wedding or a party. And for those of you that are in the US or Canada, if you're not already listed, you can get listed on there for free. So just wanted to mention that. That's who I am. That's my background. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, just my sort of blanket disclaimer that I'm not an attorney. I will say that I've had the good fortune of being married to a patent and trademark lawyer, which is where I got a lot of my initial training from in this, in terms of how to do this. So I've had that good fortune and benefit to that my wife is a trademark attorney, but I am not. So I'm not going to be giving out any legal advice here, but I definitely will have some contacts for you at the end if you do have legal questions and you want to reach out and get a professional opinion. So starting out, trademark at its most basic level, what is it? Well, I mean, it can be anything. It can be a word, a phrase, a symbol. It's basically how your customers identify your business and what distinguishes you in the marketplace. Most commonly, a trademark is going to be either your company name or it's going to be your logo. Or in some cases, it could be both. You could have, you could file two separate trademarks, one for your logo, one for your name, or if your company name is incorporated into your logo. So there's different options, but most commonly for businesses like ours, it's going to be your name or your logo. And in some cases, potentially even a slogan. So, if you have some slogan that you're known by in your market and you want to protect it so that competitors cannot use that, then you can also trademark a slogan. But it is very different from a copyright. A copyright is more of a piece of work, like a book or a publication or a web page, an article, something that's longer form in nature. And a lot of times I see that this gets confused. I'll see companies, they'll put the little C symbol for copyright next to their company name. And that would not apply in this circumstance. A trademark is distinctly something like a name or a symbol or a logo that distinguishes your business. So again, different from a copyright in that regard. So as soon as you start using your mark, your company name or your logo, it becomes a trademark, and you have certain rights that go along with that. So if I started using, for example, in my local market in Chicago, we were Base Control Production. So the day we started using that, we essentially created a trademark around our business, and we had certain rights that were available to us because we've used that trademark. But really, for a trademark to be fully enforceable, and certainly on a national level, you need to apply to get that trademark registered. And that's what's going to give you the stronger enforcement rights. So, again, it's the difference between just using using your company name, and if there's ever any issues, being able to demonstrate that you've been using it before your competitor was using it, versus if you register it on a national basis, you automatically have that protection, and you can tell people to stop using it. You can tell people anywhere nationwide to stop using that mark. You own it in essence, and it's on record. So that's the advantage to registering your trademark nationally, as opposed to just using a name locally and hoping that you have certain rights available to you if it ever becomes an issue. So why register your trademark? Well, there's a number of reasons, and at its most basic level, it's going to protect you from competitors and cyber squatters. So, competitors could be somebody that comes up with a company name that's very similar to yours, and they're doing it because they know that you have a good reputation in the industry, and they want to sort of confuse people into booking them, thinking that it might be you. It could be, for example, a competitor. I've had cases where competitors have put my company name in their keywords or their meta tags on their website with hopes that somebody searching Google for, my company might stumble upon their company name. So that's sort of an example of cyber squatting. I've even had cases where, my company one of the companies I was involved with would operate as an acronym. MNI was the name of the company. And there was a competitor that popped up that came up with a different set of 3 words that also made the acronym MNI, just so that they could say, hey, we're MNI, come and do business with us. And again, to try to confuse our customers to try to go do business with them. And fortunately, we had MNI registered as a trademark. So certainly, infringement is the #1 reason why you might want to register your company name as a trademark. Some of the other reasons, though, prevent companies in other markets, and we've seen this a lot in the DJ industry and a lot in the photo booth industry as well, where you might have a company name and you're running in Chicago market, for example, black tie DJs, let's just say, and there's another black tie DJs maybe in Los Angeles. And on the surface, or maybe 20, even 30 years ago before the internet, you might say, oh, well, who cares? I'm in Chicago, they're in LA, we don't bother each other. But nowadays, because of the internet and because people are doing keyword searches, it becomes increasingly important to protect your name on a national basis and to keep other companies. So even though this black tie DJs, let's say in LA, is not a competitor, I still don't want my customers to accidentally land on the wrong site. So the trademark will give you national level protection, and it'll protect companies in other markets even from using your company name, which, again, could hurt your SEO. If it's registered, that gives you the right to take legal action in court. So you can not only issue a cease and desist and tell people to stop using it, but if they don't, you can take them to court and be awarded damages. So that gives you a little bit of teeth behind enforcing it. And one of the reasons why I like to register names, if not anything else, is this last bullet point, that you can stand out as an authority. And what I mean by that is, when you look at doing business with a particular company, there's been numerous studies performed that show that the little R, the little registered trademark symbol next to the company name, makes a company stand out as being more reputable, more authoritative, and just more professional in general. So again, when you're dealing with industries like ours, DJs, photo booths, entertainment companies, where, we do see a lot of people sort of come in and out of the industry, and many less professional than others. It's just a way for those of us who are running professional companies in the industry to really stand out as the authority, as the leader, as a professional, reputable company versus, somebody that's just come into the business and is, not operating at a professional level like the rest of us. So those are some of the main reasons. Again, what qualifies for registration? So we mentioned earlier, it could be a company name, could be your logo, could be your slogan. You must be commercially using the name right now in order for it to qualify. So I can't just think that I'm going to start a company called Black Tie DJs and register for that trademark today. You actually have to be using it commercially. So, you know, for all of you on the call here tonight that already have an event business, you know, the fact that you are up and running, you're already most likely operating a website for your business, you know, you're commercially using it, so you qualify. The third point is it must be unique. And I used an example here. If the name of your company was Chicago Wedding DJs, it's going to be very difficult to get a trademark for that because it's not, there's nothing unique about it. It's really just describing the service. You know, it would be like if a beer company tried to trademark the word beer. It's just, it describes what it is. And so in order for a trademark to be registered, it has to be unique. So it's going to be something, I'll use Andy Starr. He's on the call. He'll be my example for tonight. But Party Masters events and services, Party Masters entertainment. That's something that's unique, and it doesn't just describe what the service is, like Chicago Wedding DJs here in my example. And then obviously it must not already be registered, and the USPTO, which stands for the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, they have what they call classes, which are categories. So you can't have something that's registered under the same name in the same class or category that you want to be registered in. And I used Pandora here as an example because when you think of the word Pandora, you might think of the music service, the streaming service, or you might think of the jewelry company. And the two have nothing to do with each other, yet they're both registered trademarks. And the reason for that is because they're in different classes or different categories. One's in jewelry and one is in music. So, you can have trademarks that are the same as something else that's already registered, just as long as it's in a different category from what's already out there. And I'll show you that. So if you're going to register your company or your logo as a trademark, there is a $250 application fee per class. And again, a class is a category. And I just recommend picking one category, the most prominent category that describes your business. But as you'll see here in a minute, as I take you through it, there are a lot of different categories. And so you can get as crazy with it as you want. Just keep in mind that each category that you want to file under is $250. The process from start to finish usually takes 12 to 18 months. Personally, I've been getting them back within 6 to 9 months. I know they're a little backlogged right now for COVID, but I think they're catching up. So, plan on a year or so if you file it, from the time that you actually file that trademark to the time that you're fully filed and able to use the little R symbol. And, many people don't know that trademarks do not need to be filed by an attorney. There's potentially issues that could come up, and I'll walk you through some of those. And I think there's a good time to call an attorney if you bump into any of those issues. But I think at least initially, that it is, a business owner, if you're familiar with the process, and hopefully that's what we'll show you here tonight, that you can go through that process to file it online, and you should feel pretty comfortable doing it, even though you're not an attorney, and it's not a requirement that you have to be an attorney. And then once you get your trademark, you have to use that little R symbol everywhere to be able to enforce it. So you have to essentially put the world on notice that your company name or your logo is trademarked. So if you don't use that little R symbol and somebody infringes on your trademark, it's difficult for you to enforce that because you didn't use the R symbol to show them that it was registered. So just something to keep in mind when you get to that point where your company name and logo is trademarked, to go ahead and put that little R symbol on in every instance and make sure that you're protected. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the online filing process, and it's actually a lot faster and simpler than you might think. And again, we'll use Andy Starr's Business Party Masters as the example for our little demo here tonight. As we get into this, my slides, I'm actually going to jump over to my web browser. But again, at the end of this, if you'd like a copy of my slides actually do have all the steps to go through as we take a look at this filing process. But the first thing you're going to want to do before you even think about filing is to clear it, to see if it's even available. And to do that, there's a specific website that you go to on the USPTO, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website, to search their database. And then you can essentially type in keywords. So again, tonight we're gonna use Party Masters as our example. And what you'll see here is there's a handful of trademarks with Party Masters or Party Master in them. All of them, except for one, though, are dead. And dead means that at one point they were filed and the person either abandoned them or let the registration lapse or didn't renew it. So dead trademarks are fair game. So if you type in your company name and everything comes up as dead, you're free. In this case, the only thing that came up is Party Master, all one word, is a live trademark. So if I click on it, it's going to show me here that this is a company and artificial flower arrangements in containers. So I don't think there'd be any issues with registering Party Masters, in Party Master being one word, but even so, I'm not worried about it because it's in a different category altogether than what we'd be filing. So for my example here, we're free to go. Again, if you typed in a word and it came back with something that was live, that was the same as your company name, and you clicked on it and it was in a category similar to what you do, entertainment, disc jockey, photo booth, at that point, that might be a good time to call an attorney and get an opinion on it, because not only may you not be able to register it, but you could also potentially be getting yourself into trouble if this other company has a trademark on it. So, you know, either way, it's going to be good to find this out now, because you may want to think about tweaking your company name or your logo if you find out that that somebody else is already using it and already has it registered. So we'll jump back here to our slide. So I'm going to take you right into the site and I'm already logged in. And again, you know, you're welcome to have a copy of these slides, but you need to just create an account on the USPTO site. That's just an email and a password. And then you can go into their online application system from there. I'm going to move fast through this. And again, I don't intend for anybody to be scribbling down notes, or don't feel like you have to remember all this. It's all on the slides, and hopefully, you know, if Rob has a video of this here as well. But it can get a little boring. So I'm just going to try to move through it as fast as I can type. But, you know, we're now into the online application system, and I had a link directly to this within the slides. So don't feel like you have to remember this URL. But once we come in here, we're going to select TEAS.
And we can't see, Scott, I don't think we can see. I just see your filing online slide.
Okay.
Can anybody else see his online application?
Oh,
No.
Okay, yeah.
all right. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
I jumped over here.
I couldn't see the last one either. I was just listening. I didn't want to interrupt you, but
Oh, no, thank
yeah, I
you.
didn't see the last one. So it's not clicking over
Nope.
to your browser. There it
that?
is. There we
All
go.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I apologize. Thank you, Andy. No, I was under the impression that it was flipping around with me, but that's okay. I can come back to that other screen that was just the search screen. But so yeah, so I clicked the link within the slide to file online, takes me to this first page. TEAS Plus, is an attorney filing this application? No. We're going to hit continue. And now we're going to enter the applicant information. I'm going to put in our information again. We're not going to file this. This is just for demonstration purposes. You know, so the owner of the mark, your company name, could be you personally. You know, if you're just a DBA, you're going to choose what type of company that you are. I'm going to put in, choose our state. We're going to put in our address. These are the times when I like doing these presentations with a partner so that he can be typing this while I'm talking. But we're just going to put in our address, our phone number, and email address, and then our website address. So basic information about your company. This is you as the owner of your trademark. So we'll go ahead and hit continue. The mark information. So you've got three options here: standard characters, special form, or sound mark. So standard characters is going to be if you want to trademark the text of your company name, which is usually what I recommend. You would use special form if you wanted to trademark a logo. And then sound mark is obviously if there's, you know, not probably something that's going to relate to our industry, but we're going to go standard characters. We're going to enter the mark. So we're going to just go ahead and put Party Masters. And they're showing us that's what our trademark's gonna look like. It's just the text Party Masters. So we're not gonna check this box. We're gonna go ahead and hit continue. So now we're gonna click Add Goods Services. And here's where you get to pick your classes or your categories. So I'm gonna type disc jockey. And you'll see here we have a number of different categories that come up. My advice to everyone is to go with the category that is the most universal and the most generic. So the more specific you start to get with the categories, you in essence start to lower your protection. Because if for example, I chose class or category 041 disc jockeys for parties and special events, I wouldn't want it to come back and somebody say, well, we do it for weddings, so we're different. We're in a different category. So, my advice, and there, you can kind of, when the time comes to do this, you can play around. There's general categories for entertainment companies, live entertainment. For our example here tonight, I'm going to just choose this one, disc jockey services. And you can't see it necessarily, at least I can't see it on my screen because I see the zoom off to the right. But there is a little indicator here off to the right that says TM5 and it has a Y or an N. And if you're ever given the option, choose the one that has Y. And Y is, without getting into too much detail, Y just means that it's a trademark category that's honored on an international basis. And not that any of us have companies that operate internationally, but if for whatever reason you decided, hey, we're doing business in Canada and the US, or, we're in multiple European countries, whatever the case is, and you thought that you might want to file your trademark on an international basis, if you choose a class here where TM5 is equal to Y for yes, that means that trademark category can be filed on an international basis. So again, not something you have to do, but just when given the option, it's always best to go with that one. So to keep moving forward here, I've selected disc jockey services. I'm going to insert checked entries. And just a quick reminder, for every class that we choose, that's your 250. Recommend putting a bunch of these classes. I would just choose the one that sort of most universally describes what you do as a business. Maybe it's disc jockey, maybe it's live entertainment. I haven't specifically looked as to whether they have anything exactly pertaining to photo booth. The government is usually a little behind the times on their categories. So my guess is that they don't have anything specifically for photo booth. But again, I think, any one of those sort of live entertainment type of categories would apply to these types of businesses. So we've chosen that one for disc jockey services. Now we need to click the section 1A button. And what this is this is going to be our evidence that we're actually using this mark right now commercially, that it's not just a concept, that it's the real thing. So my recommendation here is to take a screenshot of your website. And I've already done that. Let me see if I can. I had pulled up Andy Starr's website for Party Masters Events and Services and taken a screenshot of his homepage that shows his company name being used. And so if I go back over to my trademark application, I'm going to attach that screenshot. And if for those of you that are running a Windows PC, there's a free program that's already built into Windows called Snip. I'm sure Mac has an equivalent. Basically just allows you to take a screenshot. So if you find the Snip program in Windows or its equivalent on the Mac, and just take a screenshot of your website, of your homepage that shows your company name, that's all you need. Just save it as a JPEG file. So I've done that, and I've named it specimen.jpg. So we're going to attach that. And I'm going to return to form. And then basically we're just now going to describe what we just attached. So it's going to say description, and we're going to say screenshot of the website showing the availability of services offered. If it's a web page, so it says, please put the website URL so they can verify it. put the date. We just did it today. So 07/28. And now there's two more dates that you have to put here. This is the date of first use of your trademark and the date first use in commerce. And so I have recommendations here. For date first used, I recommend the date that you started your business. It could be the date that you filed your LLC or your corporation, or just the date that you decided I'm starting a photo booth or I'm starting a DJ company, and this is what it's going to be called. So put that date in there. I'm just picking dates off the top of my head. These aren't actually Andy's dates. And then the date of first used in commerce. So the first used in commerce means what was the date that it was first shown commercially to the general public. And so for this, I generally would recommend that you use the date that you registered your website domain, because that's the date that that name became public, essentially. So if you just go back and look at the date that you originally filed your website URL, your domain registration, and put that in there. If you don't know exact dates, it's not going to hurt you if you're not exact. What you don't want to do, though, is go back further than you really were using it. So if you think, oh, I started using it sometime in 2002, but I can't remember when, just put December 2002. You don't want to lie and ever say you were using it before you were actually using it. And if you put in there that you started using it a little after than you really did, then it's not going to impact anything. So we'll go ahead and do that. Enter the webpage URL. So now we're going to click on the Assign Filing Basis button. And now we're going to hit Continue. And this is just, if you were a big company managing a lot of trademarks, you can put in a reference number. So for us, we can just leave this blank. You can also put in a secondary copy in there, or a secondary email address if you want to get copies of anything from the patent office to a second email account. I actually recommend that. I'll go back just to show that. If for any reason you ever have any issues with your email address, maybe you're using a Gmail or a Yahoo or something and things don't always come through, you can put in a second email address here. And a trademark is the kind of thing where you really don't ever want to miss a deadline. You don't want to not respond to them, because that can mean that you lose your trademark. So maybe if you have a business email that you put as the primary, put your personal email here, or a spouse's email address, something, just so you have a backup. That's just my personal advice, just because I've seen from experience people who have lost trademarks just because they didn't get a renewal notice. So this is showing us now we're almost done that we chose one class, one category, that 041 for disc jockey services. The fee is $250. We're going to sign it right online here. And to sign it, they tell you to put your name with a leading and a trailing slash. Type your name again. We'll say owner. You can put in a phone number here. And again, I always recommend this, just because if the person that's doing it on the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office ever has any questions or concerns, you just want to give them as many ways possible to get in touch with you. That way you never, have to worry about missing out on something. So that's it. We need to check these 3 boxes. And we're going to hit validate. Oh, missed a box. I check another box. And so now we're on the last step, and that's pay submit, which I'm not going to do because I don't actually want to file this trademark. But if I check the box and hit pay submit, basically it's now just going to take me to a page where I can enter my Visa or MasterCard information. And that's it. I mean, so that was the entire process from start to finish. If I were to put in my credit card and hit submit, I would actually file this trademark, and it would actually go into their queue to become a live trademark. So, it's from start to finish is a pretty simple process if you know which boxes to check and what to choose. And I've outlined all that in the slides, which I'm happy to share, but I'm going to bounce back over to my slides here real quick. Everybody back on my slides?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so we're going to jump down to right here. Come on. So these are all the filing steps. If you get a copy of my slides, you'll see. So, all right. So what happens now? So we filed it. We've paid the fee. It's going to be reviewed by an examiner at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. If it meets all the requirements, and really there's nothing, terribly unusual about filing for a company name for a DJ or a photo booth company. So unless it's a name that there's something similar already out there, there really shouldn't be many issues. So if it meets the requirements, it's going to be approved. If there's any issues, like again, if maybe the examiner didn't like the category that you chose, or maybe there's another trademark that's too similar and they're concerned about it, whatever the case may be, if the examiner finds any issues, they're gonna send you what's called an office action. And the office action is going to just explain what the issues are and give you an opportunity to correct those. And so if you can correct any issues that they find, then the trademark will just go on and be filed and everything will be great. If you can't, then, the application is going to be dead at that point. So you're going to lose your $250. So that's why I always put a little asterisk here and say, if you do get an office action, and again, I think it would be, pretty rare for companies like ours in our industry where this is sort of cut and dry. But if you were to get an office action, that's generally a good time to at least put in a call to an attorney that knows how to handle and respond to those. If you need to go down that path, hopefully it's something that's just very simple and the attorney can just advise you on how to respond and you're not, paying a ton of legal fees, but it can happen. So I like to throw that out there. If you do get that office action, that's a great time to seek professional help. So what happens then? The examiner looks at it. Let's say they approve it. There's a 30-day period after approval that they call the opposition period. And basically they publish it on their website and they say, Andy Starr has filed for a trademark for Party Masters. If you have an issue with this for any reason, contact us and let us know. And in 99% of the cases or more, you're never going to get a response to that. That's just something that they do to essentially put it out there to say, hey, kind of a speak now or forever hold your peace type of thing. If you've got a company operating under a similar name and you think that you have rights to that, that's sort of your opportunity to send the patent office and the trademark office a letter saying, hey, I don't think this trademark should be approved and here's why. But again, in 99+% of the cases, unless you're a major corporation, where they're sort of fighting each other over trademarks all the time. In our cases, you're never going to get a response to that or have an issue. So if no opposition is filed, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office will issue your certificate of registration about 6 to 8 weeks after that. So, it all just depends on how backed up they are. But again, they're right now on their website, they're saying it's about a 12 to 18 month process. I've done some new trademark filings recently and gotten them in 6 to 9 months, but they were very clean. A lot like what I think these here would be with just filing for a company name. I think they're clean and simple, and it's real easy for the examiner just to kind of rubber stamp them. Once they're approved and registered and published, they will mail you something that looks like this. And this is your, it's got the seal on it. This is your official trademark certificate. And once you get the certificate, that's when you can actually now start using the R symbol. It's official. So I know it's, some people like to jump ahead once they get the notice that their trademark's been approved. They like to start using the R symbol, but you really can't until you have the certificate in hand, because that means it's made it through all the different steps, that opposition period and everything else. So, you want to wait for this, but once you have this, then yeah, it's the real deal. Now you can start using the registered symbol next to your name or your logo. So, I want to be honest with everybody, because there is sort of a lifelong commitment when you register a trademark. It's not a one and done. I wish it was the type of thing where you paid your $250 and then you were just done forever. But unfortunately, it's something where you have to file renewals. And at first you have to do it after 5 years, but then they get a little bit easier because it's every 10 years after that. But essentially every 5 to 10 years, the Patent and Trademark Office wants to just confirm that you're still using it actively and that you still want it and that they should still, offer you trademark protection. And that's why, well, you didn't see the screen earlier, but when I was doing a search for Party Masters, there were a whole bunch of trademarks in there that were dead. And that's exactly what happened in those cases. They were trademarks that were initially filed and they were just never renewed. And, it's not uncommon for a business to maybe start a product or a service, and then after 5 or 10 years, they sell it or they give it up or something. So, I mean, it's not uncommon for trademarks to come and go over the years. Even just when you think about new businesses that, have a lifespan and then end up going out of business at some point. So trademarks come and go. So it's kind of to our benefit that it's not a lifelong thing, because that would prevent us from registering a lot of names that are no longer in use. So essentially, again, at the 5th year, you're going to have to file a renewal. They call it Section 8 and 15. That's $325 per class. So if you just do the one class, like I recommend, you're looking at a $325 fee 5 years from now. And then there's a renewal, what they call Section 8 and 9, between every 9th and 10th anniversary. So figure every 10 years. And that's $425 per class. Again, I just recommend the one class. So, there are some ongoing fees. It's not insurmountable when you start to do the math on it. You think, okay, every 10 years, I got to pay $400. So, I'm looking at $40, $50 a year, essentially, when you break it down to keep my trademark active. I think that, the benefits of having the trademark far outweigh the costs associated with, with keeping it filed and active. So the U.S. Patent Office will send you email reminders, which is nice. So it's not even, I always recommend put it on your calendar, but as long as your email address that you gave them when you filed is still active, you will get an email renewal notice from them, and it'll give you the link and tell you right where you should go and what you have to do. So it's pretty simple. And the renewal is a lot simpler than what we just did with the initial filing. You're basically just verifying the information and sending them an updated screenshot showing them that you're still using the trademark commercially. And their fees do go up a little bit over time. So if I tell you it's $425, 10 years from now, it might be $450, just something to kind of keep in mind. So that's kind of it. I always, again, like to throw my my disclaimer here at the end that I'm not giving any legal advice. This is just basically my experience with it and how I go through the process. If you do ever get to a point where you think that you might need legal assistance, this individual here, I've used him in the past. I don't have any connection with him. I don't get anything from promoting him. He's just somebody that I know does good trademark work, and he's, pretty reasonable and fair with his rates. So, again, if you want to copy the slides, and you'll have this contact information, but I'd keep it on hand or somebody's name on hand, again, just in case you bump up into any issues or you get any of those office actions, just so you have somebody that, is able to respond and help you out with that. So definitely good to keep that on hand. So that's kind of it. I know, again, we ran through a lot, but I have copy of slides. I even have some additional PDFs with other information on trademark filing and some how-to articles and things that'll help you out as well. So, Rob can certainly share my email address with everyone, or I can go back to that first slide, but you're, certainly welcome to send me an email, and I'm happy to send you all that information. And, again, if for those of you in the US and Canada, if you're not already listed on Party Blast, we definitely invite you to go ahead and set up a free listing on that site. And if you're not already a user of Event Intelligence, by all means, we'd definitely love to have you come and check us out and give us take our 2-month demo. We have a brand new redesign that's going to be launching here in the next month or so. So a lot of good things to come with that. We're definitely dialing it in and gearing it more towards the photo booth operators. It was initially designed for DJs, so we're making a lot of adjustments in there to be able to accommodate the photo booth companies. But trademarks are just a topic that I love to talk about, and I thought it might be valuable to kind of share it with the group tonight. And it's like I said, it's kind of near and dear to my heart with my wife being a trademark attorney. So it's a common conversation around the dinner table around here, trademarks. So it's a topic that I enjoy speaking about. And if I can answer any questions, I'm definitely happy to do so.
Yeah, Scott, I do have one question. Sorry to butt in on anybody else here, but now with my business, since I offer multiple services, so do you suggest is there a category that covers like many services, for event services? Or would I have to register under multiple categories because I do photo booths, DJs, photographers, videographers, lighting, video. I mean, I do a lot of different types of services. So what do you recommend for somebody like me? I'm going to register this.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, my, as you saw with the fees, it would get very costly very fast. So,
Yeah.
on one hand, I don't recommend that you go into every possible category. I recommend that you try to find something as broad as possible that might cover those items and offers you some level of protection. If, at the end of the day, if you want 100% ironclad protection, yes, would you need to be in all those categories?
Yeah.
Probably would be the best way. But I think for 98, 99% of the cases that might ever arise, if you were in one category that was loosely related to live events or live entertainment, I think that you'd be able to draw enough of a connection to that to say, that this is going to cause confusion in the marketplace. And that's really what it comes down to is, if a competitor or somebody else is using your name and it has the ability to confuse consumers into doing business with them instead of you, that's essentially the infringement. So, I was just trying to pull up here. I do have all right, here's are you able to see this USPT screen?
Yeah.
So, this was the one we typed in before with disc jockey, but, I'll just type, for example, live entertainment. You can see there's a whole bunch of different categories. Here's children's entertainment services. I probably would try to get something in this entertainment services
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily, that doesn't get too specific.
Yeah. They're all talking about live, music and everything, of course, because that's what a lot of people associate with entertainment. Because a photographer is not really entertaining.
Right.
And neither is a videographer.
Well, here, let's do,
that you offer.
let's try. Oop, I misspelled it. Let's try.
And a lot of people today, and I probably speak for a lot of people here on this call, that they offer photo booths and DJs or photographers or videographers and other things. And most DJs today have to do that, to put a good package deal together and bump up our profits. I mean, it's worked for me. I'm sure a lot of people out there do that. So that's why I was asking this question.
I think that I'm just, and I don't have 100% attention on this as I'm scrolling through, but as I type event services, there's just such a broad range of categories that come in. If you can't end up, and I know in your case, Andy, you do everything. You've got 2 dozen different types of services that you offer, which is great. I think at the end of the day, if you can't find something that can broadly cover all those, that what I might do is focus in on, okay, what's your core? What do you really, do you need to, does it need to cover casino night? No, probably not. Maybe in your case, cover DJ, photo booth, maybe photography, just sort of the core would be my advice. But I think, if I had some time and I went through this, there's certainly a category that I think we could find. And there's also, a way here to sort of build your own category where you can say, they have a lot of these that start off with entertainment services or event services and then in some cases you can sort of finish the sentence and almost customize your own category to where you could put, some of those things. And I might be able to pull up an example of that at a later time when I have some time to look at it. But, there's just a lot of options, but again, just because you're not in something, in my opinion, doesn't mean that you're not protected. You can go crazy picking categories. So just to try to find something that's broad and loose and just enough of what you do to sort of keep other companies out of that general area. And you'll see there's like, and I'm sorry, I'm just keep talking on the subject, but it is important. You'll see that as you look at these categories, there's a first 3 digits and then a dash, and then there's digits after it. And, it's essentially like a class and a subclass. So, I don't remember what 041 is, but it might be, services for events. And then there's a subclass of, sound engineering, video editing. So, again, I think, focusing on that sort of that top level, just getting into that services for events is going to be enough to offer you some level of protection.
All right. Well, first off, I definitely want to thank Scott for a fantastic presentation there. We do have a few questions here, and I'll go through those. And once we've exhausted the questions, then we'll call it a night. But Andre had a question here regarding what is the difference if we want to file the company name and a slogan? So do those have to be done separately, or can you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, you can, my advice would be with a company name and a slogan, I think you're going to want to do them separately because they're two distinct pieces, two distinct elements that you want to protect in and of themselves. So if you were to do a trademark that was like your company name dash your slogan, you can do that, but then what you're protecting is from somebody using that entire string. And so if they were to just infringe on just your company name or just your slogan, they could always argue, well, that's not what was trademarked. What was trademarked was the whole entire thing. So, I think that as you look at it, you should, and it's sort of the same thing with a logo. With a logo, you're protecting the graphical elements of how your logo looks. So your colors, your design, that sort of thing. You're not covering text in your logo. So, you're going to want to, my personal advice is, and I guess, if you have a really unique and flashy logo that you're worried about somebody stealing, by all means, feel free to trademark your logo. But my general advice is just to trademark the company name as text, just to be able to offer you that level of protection on the company name itself. Because that's, in most cases of infringement, that's, from my experience, where it's going to happen is going to be somebody trying to steal your company name by using the text of it and putting it, into meta tags or something on their own site. So I think the answer to that question would be, think of those as distinct elements. But again, personally, I don't think I would put too much worry on the slogan or the logo unless it was something that you really thought was at danger of being infringed on.
Okay, the next question that's come up here is how you submit updates to contact information to the Patent and Trademark Office. So let's say your email changes, your phone number changes.
Yeah.
How do you update that?
That's a good question. I've never done it personally, but my understanding is there's a form that you can file on there. I do not believe that you can do it online. Now, what I will tell you is that I have trademarks filed even currently under old addresses from prior to when my business moved to a new office location. And I've never gone back and made those updates because that information is, it's just sort of on record. There's nothing really being done with it. When it comes to your renewal notices, those are going to go to your email. And that's the only place they're going to go. They're not going to mail them to you. They're not going to call you with them. So if, and that's why I was showing in the presentation, there is a spot to put a secondary email. So, if you put your company email, maybe put a personal Gmail or something in there. The bottom line, I would say my recommendation is, I think it can be done if it needs to be, but I wouldn't worry about it as long as you keep your email address that you filed it under is current and active, that you're able to continue to receive email there in perpetuity. Then I think, you're going to be fine.
So Richard Clare had a question regarding more, you've been talking about how to register with the US Trademark Office. Can you also do that internationally? Is there some way to protect your name, let's say from Europe or from other parts of the world?
Yeah, there are. And it's not something that I've done personally, but, my understanding is the system in Canada is pretty similar. And then there's I believe there's one in the European Union that's sort of a universal that'll cover you throughout Europe. You obviously you can go really, really crazy with it. I mean, you can register it. Every company in some form, or every country in some form or another has a trademark registry. But it'll really start to get expensive, and they're very difficult to file and to maintain. And so in those cases, there's generally attorneys that will handle that for you for filing internationally. But I believe just at its most simplistic level in Canada and in Europe specifically, their system is very similar to this in terms of how it works. But yeah, you can file it internationally.
The next actually is there's a few questions that were a little bit earlier from Mark Klatskin. I've known Mark for many, many years. He might be one of the few people that has been to more mobile beats than I've been to 22 of the 24 mobile beats, I believe, since it started. And I've known Mark through all those years. But he had a question for you. What is the difference between DJ intelligence and event intelligence?
Not much. Really, it's just a branding thing. When we first started the company back in 2002, it was music intelligence. It was just the module for DJs to allow their clients to make requests online. And then it expanded into online planning and booking. So it became DJ intelligence. And then, of course, once we had the DJ market pretty well saturated, we started getting the requests from other types of companies. So we kind of reworked some things, but all the features are identical, and we're just branding it now under event intelligence. So nothing but the name is just a more universally generic name that appeals to all different types of vendors in the industry. But we are, as I mentioned earlier in the call, we're working on a complete redesign right now, and we're packing in a lot more features that are specific to the photo booth operators, just because that's it's a fast growing market for us. So we want to be able to handle those. And also, specifically and especially companies like Andy Starr, who are doing, multiple different types of services, to be able to handle all that within a single event intelligence account. So, long story short, it's the same. If you're using DJ intelligence, it's just a difference in the name. That's all.
All right. By the way, Mark Klatskin noted here, and this is actually, I was looking for somebody that had been to more Mark Klatskin has been to more mobile beats than I have. He only missed one mobile beat. I missed two. I never went to the first one, which I believe was 97, if I remember right. And I never, due to a previous commitment, I wasn't able to go to 2003, been to every other one. But so Mark Klatskin has been to more mobile beats than I have. So wow. Congratulations. I thought I remembered seeing him pretty much every year there. So it's, okay, what do we have here? Paul. Oh, congratulations to Paul here. I'm just trying to go through these. Let me maximize the screen because I'm having trouble going through these on a small screen. Congratulations to Paul Bruss. It says, sounds like I need to come back to PBX and MEX. Got married the last time I went. Haha. So congratulations on that. And I guess it'll be two-year anniversary pretty much for the next one, unfortunately, because we couldn't have one last year. When will DJ intelligence be updated? That was from Michael Kennedy. I guess you update all the time, but you can answer that one there. Oh.
There we go. I was just saying, that's DJ intelligence being updated, part of the major redesign that we're doing right now. And it's very close. We, for better or worse, are just very particular when it comes to all the little details. And I hate it nothing more than getting into a piece of software and finding a bunch of bugs. So we are just going through everything with a fine tooth comb, but the new design is done. It looks great. It's mobile responsive. And we just basically have a rollout schedule for the next 12 to 18 months. That's just going to be nonstop, new things one after the next. And it all, not to get off on a tangent or get too much technical detail, but it all started with a rebuilding of our data model that can handle, some of the types of things that we want to do as we cater to some of these other businesses. And so we've gotten through the bulk of that. And so we're kind of in a good spot, and we're excited. I mean, we'll have a lot more stuff before MEX and PBX, but certainly we're going to have a ton of new stuff to show there as well.
So another question from Mark Klatskin. Scott, who is handling your support tickets?
There's a group of us, but primarily they're under the management of Chris Wagner. If anybody's familiar with him, he ran a large DJ company here in Chicago. So, Chris is our support manager.
And I'm actually having a bit of trouble right now with scrolling. Mark Klaskin had an earlier question. This was more to me regarding PBX and MEX. But let me see if I can minimize the screen. Hopefully I can go up to the top here again. Yeah, here we go. Okay, what is the plan for MEX? Are you planning on trying to attract the past Mobile Beat attendees? Most of the marketing for your show seems to be geared to photo booth operators, making it confusable for DJs that want to attend. So I may as well clear that up. It is 2 shows. Basically, MEX is the next generation of Mobile Beat shows, although it's a different company, different management. It is in some ways it's the continuation of Mobile Beat. In some ways it's all new. It is not. Some people think it's just Photo Booth Expo. It is not. There are going to be 2 separate exhibit floors and 2 separate seminar streams. So if somebody gets a key pass to Photo Booth Expo, they can attend the photo booth seminars. We changed it a little bit for MEX. If you get a MEX key pass, you can attend any of the MEX seminars, and you can also attend the PBX seminars. So you're actually getting 2 shows in one, but the whole point is to it is not one show. We have a separate website. We're marketing them separately. So a lot of people continue to see all the marketing for PBX. And we really just started doing a lot of marketing to the DJs now. But like I said, it is designed to be 2 separate shows. A lot of people liked the fact that in 2018, by total coincidence, we didn't plan it that way, but we took advantage of it once we found out. Photo Booth Expo and Mobile Beat were in 2018 were the same week. So we originally made a deal that if you went to one show, you could get the exhibits pass to the other. And a lot of people like that. That was actually the start of conversations that Ryan and I had about me buying Mobile Beat. But like I said, it's not. We're keeping it separate. So if for the photo booth people that are out there, you can pretty much what you've seen before is what you're going to continue to see. And for the MEX people, basically, there's a lot of new stuff and a lot of differences, but generally it is the next generation of Mobile Beat shows. I hope that sort of cleared it up a little bit. I've got some new messages coming up here. Got to get to them. Omar Klaskin here. Appreciate. Fantastic. Good seminar, Scott. Thanks. And yeah, once again, thank you very much, Scott. And I'm really looking forward to an even more in-depth presentation when you're going to be at both MEX and PBX. What are the current prices for MEX and PBX? So MEX, because it includes both shows, right now is $199 plus a ticketing fee, which I think is like $209.25 total, if I remember right. And PBX is $99 for a key pass. It goes up on August the 1st to $119 for the PBX and $219 for the MEX. So it's and what else here? Let me see if we missed anything. Does Party Blast? This is from Bold Photo Booth. Does Party Blast cater to Canadians? That's a question for Scott.
Yeah, Party Blast is a US and Canadian directory, and Event Intelligence is used in 22 countries worldwide. So that's global.
So I guess the answer there for him is, yeah, Bold Photo Booth should go there and register with Party Blast, correct?
Please do.
And all right, let me see. If anybody wants to if you want to unmute yourself and say anything direct, just go ahead right now. It is already past 10 o'clock, so we'll see if nothing else comes up in the next few seconds, we will call it a night. So our next meeting will be in September. It's already the end of July, so I kind of figured and because it's middle of the summer in a lot of places, we'll have our next one somewhere in the middle of September. Right now, Rob Peters will be the guest for that, and there'll be more details coming. But as long as you're subscribing to our newsletter on either the MEX or PBX side, you will get information on all of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. Any other questions for Scott, or shall we just give him a great big round of applause and look forward to meeting him in person in February?
Great job.
Yes,
Very well
absolutely
done.
fantastic job there, Scott. We really appreciate you sharing all this with us. And a compliment here. You're the best dressed guy in the software biz. So you got a compliment there.
What I'm going for.
And what kind of microphone are you using, Scott? That's the other question. It sounded really good.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's a good mic. Yeah. No, you don't even know what you have. Oh,
it's an Amazon special.
All right. One final question for Scott. What is your email?
Yes, good question. Let me see how fast I can get back to that slide, because you're not going to want me to read it to you. It's a mouthful.
Right. While he's doing that, I should have, if somebody wants to watch this again, my plan is to get it up onto the Photo Booth Expo YouTube channel either tomorrow or the day after. So it'll appear there. And there we go. There's Scott.
See it on screen. It's my first initial last name, S. Kartsounes @intelligenceinc.com.
All right. And on that note, once again, thank you, Scott. Thanks for everybody for taking part and being able to share with everybody all of our business experience and all of that. And have a fantastic rest of the summer. And hopefully we'll see as many of you as possible online here in September, and then live in February. Have a great, thanks again, Scott, and have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.